Well, today is a big day in regards to the family Overland XJ project. We're going to be installing Spartan automatic lockers or lunchbox lockers into the front and rear differential. Now, I've never installed these before. Don't know exactly what I'm getting myself into, but I figured I would video a step-by-step and kind of so you'll know what to expect when you do your project. Now, as always, I want to put the disclaimer out there that I'm not a mechanic. So when you see me do a bunch of wrong stuff, it does no good to post a bunch of comments because I've already told you I'm not a mechanic. I'm sure I'm going to do something wrong. But at least you'll get the idea of what is involved and how hard of a project it is. Before we can get started on the differential, we have to take the tires and brakes off. So we're going to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll start filming once I'm actually tearing into the differential. So I almost forgot to start filming, and we got carried away. So so far I've taken out all the bolts. I got this one that's just barely in, so I can get the differential cover loose, let it leak out all the oil, and then I'll probably go eat lunch and let this drain out for a little bit. Then we'll come back and probably take out this bar. I've read that you can do it by leaving this bar in place, but I'm probably going to just go ahead and take it out to get it out of my way and make it a little easier on me.
That's where the oil comes from?
That's the differential fluid right there. It's gear oil.
I bet the other one would have the same oil.
I went ahead and loosened up that tie rod just to get it out of the way. Like I said, I think that I've seen where people can, or not seen, but read where people can get those out with leaving that in place, but it'll make better for the video to have it out of the way and just make it better for me to be able to see what I'm doing. So one thing I'm going to do is lay some paper towels down here so I can have a clean place to lay parts as I take them out. From everything I've ever seen or read or heard, the most important thing to do, which is the same for anything that is a calibrated piece of machinery, is to put stuff back exactly as it comes out, as opposed. And what I mean by that is, even though these parts are the same and they're stamped the same, you can't just flip them and interchange them. If it's on that side, you want to put it on that side. If there are shims or anything behind it, you got to make sure those shims go back in the exact right spot. It'd be really nice to have a lift right now. I don't see any shims. Take a minute to do a little review for something from Harbor Freight that I absolutely love. There's a lot of things that are bad at Harbor Freight, but there are some absolute gems, and these gloves are one of them. I think these are the 9mm thick, I'm not 100% sure, but they're in the automotive section, and this is exactly what they're intended for. And they are very thick, hold up very well, and keep your hands very clean. So I would highly suggest it if you have a Harbor Freight near you or even online, order them. I think you'll be happy with them. I need to get a pry bar and try to get this out of here. This is probably the thing that I've been the most nervous about. Just don't want to mess anything up. All right, well, got the carrier out. I'm going to carry it into my workshop, put it up on the bench, and we'll open up the Spartan lockers and get started. Well, unfortunately, on the ring side bearing, the race has a lot of pitting in it, and you actually see it in the bearings. So it looks like I need to get a new bearing. So I've made a mark here, just so I can line these back up later. I've got to get this pin out, but in order to get this pin out, the ring gear has got to come off. I don't have a punch that's the right size, but I'm willing to sacrifice a drill bit to knock that pin out. So there's the old roll pin. We'll set it aside. The Spartan kit comes with a new roll pin, as well as, I don't know if this is a carrier pin is what this is called, but I don't think the other kits come with those. Alright, now I'm going to mount the carrier from the vise here and remove these 10 bolts. I know somebody's going to get on to me for doing that. And this is my favorite ratchet, so I probably shouldn't. And so we shouldn't need these anymore. And there's a shim there. I'm taking all the shims out. And I'm scared to do that, but according to Spartan, you're supposed to. I've read the directions correctly. Each one of these little pins has a groove in it, and I'm just pushing it down and then sticking a wire in this hole to line with that groove and hold the alignment pins in. In big bold letters it says do not use thrust washers. So taking those out, hopefully I'm understanding that right. Alright, it says that the retainment pins may need to be bent along the side of the locker to be able to install it. Alright, I feel confident that it is as good as I can get it with the instructions that I have. Alright, sorry about that. Basically, you have to reach your finger in and hold up on the little centerpiece there. I can't think of what it is to drive the pin through, but nowhere do I see it says that in the instructions. Now I'm just putting the roll pin in. So I've got this all back together. I've got to stop and go get a bearing. I'm going to replace that bearing. And then, but before I do that, I got to take my wires out real quick. That should be the last part of the actual locker install. All right. I've replaced the bearing, and now it's time to start putting the ring gear and everything back together. And one thing we want to do is we want to make sure we clean out with brake cleaner all these holes. Brake cleaner, carb cleaner, something. Because when we torque these down, we're going to need this to all be perfectly cleaned out. So as I'm putting each one of these bolts in, I'm going to do a quick spray off. Put just a little bit of Loctite on it. That's a little much there. And I'll get the bolt started. And now I'm just trying to run these all down by hand and get them finger tight. Only because I can do it a lot faster by hand than I can with a wrench. And then I'm going to, in a star pattern, get them all tightened by hand. And then after I get them all tightened by hand, I will slowly work up to 75 to 80 foot-pounds. And I will do that in a clockwise pattern around. Probably going in 10 foot-pound increments or so. I'm going to start at about 40 foot-pounds. Just going to go in a star pattern. Yes, I grabbed the wrong socket size. 19. Millimeter. Well, one of these is lying to me. They both say 19, but one is quite a bit larger than the other. $19. $19. But they are nowhere near the same size. Alright, now folks, that's weird right there. This is a 17 millimeter, and it is the same size as my 19 in my Craftsman Professional. And this is just a cheap Taiwan, which I think is right because I have a Cobalt 18 here that is just a hair too big. So I'm guessing my Craftsman laser wrist have been the wrong side for who knows how long, and I haven't noticed it because I've never compared it to another one. And I'm going to go around the clock this time. Alright, and there's that. But you know what happens since you helped work on this? When we go try it all out, you get to be the first one to ride in the Jeep with Daddy.
What?
Yes.
Am I going to test it out right now?
No, it'll probably be Saturday when we test it out. Because we need somebody to go with us. We'll probably have one of Daddy's friends go with us.
And probably the other Brayden could again. But go we test it out at the beach.
We're a long way from the beach, bud. Got everything put together, ready to go back in. But I got a few things I got to do first. Gotta clean up all the old gasket material here on the differential and the cover both. And then clean out the inside really good and clean up all the, just do one more once over on the locker and carrier. I'm going to go ahead and stick the axles in just a little bit.
Daddy, I see your face sticking out. I see it, Dad.
Alright, it's getting there. And I believe it's there. Now,
We'll have to put the tires on.
I'm going to do some more spraying. So, buddy, when you get older, are we going to build you a Jeep like this?
Probably.
Probably. Would you like that?
Probably we could paint it black.
Black's your favorite color, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And this Jeep is black.
Nope.
Probably when I get 17.
We'll have to start before then, so you can have it by the time you're 16 or 17.
And probably Mommy's papa could help too.
Papa Steve. Yep.
And Papa Carl. Because we would need a lot of help. You could have used the thing what you untightened those with.
We got squeeze out everywhere. Alright, we got squeeze out. So now I'm going to let this dry. While it dry, I'm going to go ahead and put the
Tires on.
the wheels, tires, the hubs, and I'll be back in a minute. So I'm getting ready to torque down the bolts. It's been about 30 minutes to an hour or so. I've got both of the hubs on and ready just to put the wheels on. I'm going to torque these to, I think it says 35 pounds for the differential cover. Also for the bearing clamps, I can't think of the correct name, bearing caps. I torqued those to 55 foot-pounds per the manual.
It sounded like it was too deep.
You think that's funny? Alright. I got the front tires put back on. Let's do a test here. Alright. They're locked. Now, let's see if I can spin this tire faster than that one. And that's the clicking that you hear people talk about. Alright, time to do the back.